Hello everyone, Eva here and welcome to the next episode of Art Side of Life, where I chat with inspiring artists and create various art-related videos. Before we go to the interview, I wanted to let you know that my course Storytelling with Color and Light is now available for you at artsideoflife.com/color. I designed the course for beginner and intermediate artists, breaking the big topic of color and light into smaller parts to help you understand the main concept so you can make your artworks appealing and believable. So check it out at artsideoflife.com/color. And now let's go back to the interview. My guest today is Isabelle Staub, and Isabelle is a freelance illustrator and artist, most known for her beautiful female portraits, digital designs, and her series where she repainted Disney princesses in her unique style. And now, please welcome Isabelle, and let's get to the interview. So, welcome everyone to the next episode of Art Side of Life, and I'm super happy to have Isabelle here. Hi!
Hi!
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, perfect. And I'm super happy that you joined us. And let's talk about your art and your background. And let's start with your childhood, And when was maybe the first time you realized, okay, I want to take art more seriously?
When I was little, I was always really into art. Like from before I can remember, I was always drawing. I was always really into looking at the pictures in children's books, and yeah, I've just kind of always been, I always knew that I wanted to be an artist, so yeah.
So what was maybe the moment, or when was the time maybe you told your parents or friends? How was that?
I feel like they always knew. My parents were always super supportive of my art. So yeah, I was kind of always known as like the artist in the family. So yeah.
And how was it then maybe when you were like very little, or was there something which influenced you, like your art, like some movies or TV shows?
Well, definitely Disney. Obviously, I did my whole Disney series, but that was a huge influence. I loved Disney movies when I was little. I was always watching them like over and over again. And again, like children's books, I was always making my own like little children's books and illustrating my own things. So yeah, those were like my big influences when I was little.
And do you have like a favorite Disney princess?
I feel like it always changes. I think Mulan and Ariel probably.
yeah, like female characters on adventures,
yes. Yes.
And if you think about your art career, and where you are now, which were kind of the biggest turning points for you?
Probably deciding to go to art school. I feel like that was a kind of scary thing to do, just because there's such a stigma around like you're never going to make money as an artist. But my family was always really supportive of me. So that really helped like push me when I like didn't think I could do it. So I'm really grateful for them and going to art school. I know it's not for everybody, but it was a really good experience for me. And then after that, deciding that I wanted to pursue art as like a freelance illustrator, that was also like a huge turning point. Yeah. So yeah.
And how was the transition for you, when you were, thinking like, okay, I will go do freelance?
It was terrifying. I feel like when I graduated college, I felt like really overwhelmed, and I was like, I don't even know where to begin because it's just such a daunting thing to do. And I applied for some like full-time jobs that were like kind of in the creative field, but not exactly what I wanted to do, and I didn't get them. And I just felt so like disheartened, and I emailed my professors and told them I didn't know what to do, and I was like sobbing. I just like had no idea where I was supposed to go next. And at that point, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to pursue freelance because that's what I truly want to do. And that's where I am now, and I'm really happy I did it. And I didn't get those jobs. It was a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But then how long did it take you, to get like first artistic jobs? Because, sometimes people are like, okay, I want to go freelance, but maybe I had one client, then okay, what do I do for next few months? And so maybe how did you approach and find new artistic jobs?
Yeah, that was definitely really hard because it takes time to build those things, and it can be really scary getting, your first job and then not having anything and you're like, okay, now what? So I probably got my first freelance job. So I graduated May of 2016. I got my first freelance job probably in December of 2016, and it didn't start picking up until my Instagram got big, and I've gotten all my clients from there since. So it was a slow start, and like I was like, should I be doing this? Like I feel like this isn't working out, but it definitely takes time. So yeah.
Yeah. And what did you do at the beginning? Like did you live with your parents or did you save up or,
Yeah,
did you do part-time?
yeah, I'm living with my parents now still. I'm saving up to eventually probably move out to California. But yeah, I'm living with my parents. They're supporting me as I'm building myself. So I'm very thankful for that. But yeah.
And when we are talking about, like the income or what do you live from? How do you build your income streams? What is the main thing? Is like client work or selling art prints, or how do you spread your things?
It's definitely client work right now. I kind of do a lot of portraits for people. I get commissioned to do portraits and also kind of random freelance jobs. Like I did some logos, album covers, just random stuff like that, which is really fun. I'm trying to step away from the commission work and do more of those illustration projects that are more creative. So I'm hoping to like slowly move more into that, but yeah.
Yeah, and so what are maybe something like different commissions, or if you can like describe to someone who never done that, like do they ask you like, oh, can you draw me as a princess or something like that?
Yeah, so they'll ask me, like, I try to get their full idea of what they want, and then I'll send them my pricing list, and depending on how like complex the project is, it'll definitely vary. But yeah, I just make sure I know exactly what they want because I've learned from mistakes that there can be miscommunications, and if you think you know what they want, but you need to like spell it out for them so they know exactly what they're getting. So there's no miscommunication there. But yeah, I send them usually like a couple sketches, have them pick what composition they like, what they're leaning towards, and then slowly keep working up and keep showing them the progress to make sure we're on the same page. So that seems to be the most efficient way to do that.
Yeah, definitely, because they know what they can expect and they're like,
Yeah,
oh, I
definitely.
like it.
Yeah, definitely,
And do you also discuss with them like color palette or like preferences in color?
Yeah, so that's like another step. So once I do the like sketches and then the value study, I'll send them kind of color comps. So I'll do like a couple like quick washes of color on a couple different ones and have them tell me what they're leaning towards and what like color scheme they were thinking and mood and stuff like that. So we're on the same page and yeah, stuff like that. So
Definitely. And do you have like a favorite art tools, you use every time you create these artworks?
So yeah, I'm a digital artist mainly. So I use the program Corel Painter. That's how I learned digital art on back in 2012. And then I use Photoshop too. So I'll take my painting from Corel Painter and then put it into Photoshop and do the final touches and adjust the lighting and stuff like that.
Yeah, and do you work on like Cintiq or Intuos or do you have something else?
Yeah, so I had the Intuos tablet for the longest time, and I just upgraded to the Cintiq Pro this past February, and it's my favorite. I'm obsessed with it. Like, I can't go back to anything else. It's amazing.
And do you also personalize your brushes and these kind of things, or do you usually use just one
So,
favorite?
yeah, I have like a set of favorite ones that I use on Corel, but I don't customize them. They're very like they're like pastels, charcoal brushes on there. So it's very painterly and it feels like actual charcoal or pastels, which is so cool. So I use all those, but I don't customize them.
And when you like think about your art process, does it differ from, when you go for commission work or client work to your own personal artworks, or what is your artistic process there?
Oh yeah, it's really different. I mean, for client work, it's definitely more drawn out because I want to make sure I'm doing what they want. But for my own, I usually don't do all that pre stuff. I'll just kind of like jump right into it. And yeah, it's definitely a messier, more organic process because I'm just kind of having fun with it. But it's definitely more structured with a client.
Definitely. And when
Yeah.
you are also trying out different like art processes and maybe also art styles, what kind of help you to develop your art style the most, or why did you choose this type of art style?
That was something I really struggled with in college, like finding an art style that was my own and that people would like. And I feel like it's something I stressed about so much. And once I stopped, that's when I got my style. I feel like a style is you draw what you like and how you like it. So once you do that, I feel like everyone finds their own voice and their own style that's just like, you don't have to force it. Yeah.
Definitely. And did you
Yeah, because
go
that's
through
not
different phases as well? Like, I don't know, manga phase, or I don't know what kind of phase.
Um, kind of. I definitely, when I first started, I was really into like super realistic things,
Yeah.
and trying to draw straight from life. And now mine is definitely moving to more stylized. It has realism in it, but it's definitely more stylized, which I really like.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then you were like looking into different aspects, what you like, for example, like eyes or different types of highlights, or how you create color palettes, or how did you kind of find out what you actually
Uh,
like?
I've always loved drawing eyes. Like that's always something I go straight to drawing eyes. Like it's my favorite thing. I love drawing lips too, and I love a strong highlight and really contrasted work. Um, I've just always been drawn to that. I don't know what it is, but everyone's always like, your highlights are way too strong. And I'm like, I love it. I don't know. It's like, I love it.
And when you now create and come up with the color palettes or the ideas for your own work, do you still do the observation from real life and, as you mentioned, the realistic things, or are you inspired by like photographs or something else?
Yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from photography and color palettes from even like abstract art or different kinds. Like I try to get inspiration from other forms of art.
Yeah.
So I'll look at film, like I get really inspired by like really cool cinematography or film and stuff like that. Um, and I pull definitely from that inspiration. I always think their color palettes are so beautiful and I want to like have that in my own work. So
Yeah.
I pull from that a lot, yeah.
Do you have a recent favorite for from the movies, maybe for the color palettes or the characters?
I've been watching Handmaid's Tale on Hulu. I don't know if you've seen it, but
No, not yet.
their cinematography is so beautiful and the color palettes are very muted, but very contrasted and gorgeous, and I adore it. So I feel like that's kind of influencing what I'm doing right now because I watch it while I'm drawing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So how do you then design your day with the drawing and watching and stuff? So how does your normal day look like? You know,
Yeah.
like
I feel like that's something I'm still working on is getting like a set schedule. Because I'm definitely a night owl. I'm not a morning person at all, and I love working at night. So I'll try to like wake up, have my coffee, and get all the like business stuff out of the way first, like my emails and all that stuff, and then I spend the rest of the day like randomly drawing intervals into however late I stay up. So yeah.
and do you create like one artwork per day, or do you set for yourself some goals? Like, okay, how much do you create per day?
So it depends on how many like client works I have. Obviously, they're like my number one priority. And depending on my stuff for Instagram, I have like my own, those are all my like fun personal projects that I post. And depending on how complex they are, they could, like, I did one painting in a day, but typically it takes longer than that. I'm kind of, yeah, a perfectionist, so I like to spend a couple days on things. But yeah, it really varies. It's not the same every day. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and do you have like maybe some rituals, during the day, like meditation or exercise or something
Mhm.
special?
Yeah, I exercise. I've been trying to meditate more. And I try to do yoga because I've been having some like back pain and hand pain from drawing so much. So I definitely want to like strengthen all of that and do yoga, and that really seems to help. So I'm trying to get more into that. But exercise is something I do often. So
Yeah,
that
definitely.
always
That's
helps.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
good when we are sitting the whole day and then
Oh
your
my
back
God,
start
yeah.
hurting and
Yeah, and
everything.
to
And
like get out of my house because I'm here. Like,
yeah,
it's a pretty isolating job, so it's important to like force yourself to get out into society. So
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, so you
hmm
don't do yoga at home, you go actually somewhere.
I'll do yoga at home, and I belong to a gym, so I go and
Hmm.
exercise there.
That's good
But
to
yeah,
see people there.
yeah, to be out in the world, yes.
Yeah, and so do you go like out maybe for the weekend, or do you work 7 days a week, or how do you kind of balance this?
It's hard to balance it because when you're freelancing, it's not like a set schedule. I mean, I need to set my own schedule a little better because I'll work too much. Like I'll work on the weekends and I'm like I've been working every day because it's like art is also my hobby outside of my job, so I'm always drawing. So it's hard to like blur it, like all blurs together. So it's definitely important to give yourself breaks, though. So I'm going on vacation this weekend for a week. So
Yay!
I'm very looking forward to that. Yes.
That's really cool. And are you going to draw during the vacation or like,
Probably. Yeah,
yeah?
probably. I'm going to bring my little tablet with me.
And do you draw now when you go, for example, for a holiday, like also in a cafes or like when you're out somewhere in the nature?
Oh yeah, I love drawing at like a coffee shop and stuff like that. People watching, I love doing that. And I'll bring my sketchbook and creepily draw people and stuff like that. Yeah.
And when you do sketches like in the cafes, do you do it with like a pencil or actually in a like digital?
I'll do it with a pencil. I'll bring my sketchbook. Pencils. I like the just like regular ballpoint pens too. I love that. So I'll bring those along. I don't typically digitally paint outside my house, but I like to go back to traditional drawing once in a while. So that's
Yeah.
always nice.
Yeah, if you paint digitally at home, because I bring my sketchbook with my iPad, and then
Yeah, yeah.
when I go somewhere, then I just sketch with that actually, because they have
Right.
also like these pencil brushes, or you can have a Photoshop with you in it, and it's yeah.
Right, right. Right.
Before we continue, let's thank our sponsors. Are you looking for a top quality print shop and online store to sell your art prints? Then you should definitely check out Imprint. Imprint has been helping artists print and sell gallery quality prints of their work all over the world for over a decade. Created by artists for artists. Imprint ensures that you as an artist get your artworks printed in the highest quality and you earn the highest percentage compared to the others in the industry. The online gallery at imprint.com is curated by the members, resulting in a beautiful and unique collection of work. Support your favorite artists, discover new ones, and start selling through your own gallery today. And because you are part of Artside of Life community, you will get a special 10% discount with the promo code ARTSIDE. Don't wait, visit artsideoflife.com/imprint and use promo code ARTSIDE. If you love discovering and trying out new art tools, you should check out Art Snacks. When you subscribe, you will get a box of high-quality art supplies every month. I have already discovered so many amazing new products, limited edition tools, and exclusive supplies only available to subscribers. Art Snacks definitely helps me to get more creative and try different art techniques every month. There is also Art Snacks Challenge, where you can share your artworks using only the tools in the monthly box. You also get to join the Art Snacks Mix community, where you can talk with other artists like you, inspire each other, and improve together. And because you are part of Artside of Life community, you will get a special 10% discount with the promo code ARTSIDE10. So don't wait, visit artsideoflife.com/artsnacks and use the promo code ARTSIDE10. If you are a digital artist, you will love AstroPad. AstroPad is an app that turns your iPad Pro into professional wireless graphics tablet for your Mac. I use it to work with Photoshop and Illustrator to create highly rendered artworks for my clients directly on my iPad. I was super excited to discover AstroPad because the painting apps available on iPad don't have all the functionality like Photoshop. With AstroPad, I can use all my favorite and custom-made Photoshop brushes, which is super cool. And because you are part of Artside of Life community, you will get an exclusive 10% discount on AstroPad Studio licenses. To get started, go to artsideoflife.com/astropad and enter the promo code ARTSIDE. And now, let's go back to the interview. And When actually we were talking about when you were developing your skills, do you have like recommendations for, like either books or some other resources you enjoyed?
I would definitely say that I learned the most from drawing from life.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my art school, we had life drawing classes where we
Yeah.
drew still lives and we drew skeletons and we'd have live models. And I feel like you learn the most drawing from life,
Yeah.
and it's difficult, but and sometimes not that fun. But definitely learned the most doing that. So I always recommend that to people if you're trying to practice to just draw still lives or anything from life because it really, really helps you like hone your skills.
Yeah, and when you were drawing the characters on the live drawing classes, did you have some special like ways to simplify and observe? Because sometimes, when it's like super fast and it's so complex, like
Oh yeah. Yeah, we would have like 2 minute poses and 3 minute poses. So you just like try to have like big flicks of the wrist and quick drawing. And that's so hard because I'm pretty meticulous. So that was like, but it's really important to kind of get out of your comfort zone and just like have fun and be like, this is gonna be terrible, but it's fun. It's fun to get out of your comfort zone and learn different ways. And I think it's a healthy exercise for your brain and your drawing skills.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because then you can try like just action line or silhouette
Right.
or
Mhm.
shadows or whatever it is, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
And when you are drawing with the traditional media, do you have like a favorite brand of pencil or?
I really like really small mechanical pencils or like really thin lead. I love those. And then the really just hard pencils. That's how I initially do my sketches is like a 6H pencil.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'll go in with the mechanical and darken everything up and yeah, but not like a specific brand. I'm not picky with that stuff.
And do you plan also to post maybe more process and sketches on your Instagram, or you prefer to post more finished artworks?
I want to start posting more sketches. I haven't because I just feel like my sketches aren't that great, but I want to show my process
Yeah.
more. So I'm going to start posting more sketches, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe in stories, right? Or you can
Yeah,
start
yeah.
there and
Mhm. Yeah, I just started a Patreon, so
Cool.
I'm showing more of my process on there and showing my process sketches digitally or traditionally. So that's where I've been slowly putting my process out there.
And so what are you sharing on Patreon, or what tiers did you plan, or how did you, structure that?
So I have I forget which specific tiers. I know so I have a YouTube channel too where I show just like speed paints that have like music in the background. And then for my Patreon, I have been recording my paintings start to finish and I do voiceover tutorials on there. So just giving tips and tricks of what I do during my thing and you know, when I mess up, how I overcome that and stuff like that. So hopefully it's helpful, but yeah.
Definitely, yeah, because it's
Yes.
always good to see some kind of like a process and what other artists are doing, because everyone has a different process and you can
Yeah,
find
definitely.
your own, right? So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I really like this part.
Yeah, and I mean, I've watched a lot of speed paints and tutorials, and I feel like a lot of them are just every brushstroke they put down is completely perfect. And I like start over my painting so many times. So I feel like that's kind of cool to show people. It's like I mess up all the time, and this is how I like redo things and, you know, keep moving forward with it when it looks really bad. So yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, progress by learning, right? So you
Yeah.
fail and then you continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
And your Instagram is like the most kind of like what you use the most, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
can you share maybe some tips or something which worked for you or something which definitely didn't work and you're like, okay, I'm not doing that anymore?
Yeah. So my Instagram, I had no followers for like over a year. And I was always trying to get my art out there, but it was really hard to get things noticed. And what got me noticed was doing my Disney fan art. Like that is what made me get all my followers. So yeah, people love fan art, and I tagged you know, art sharing accounts, and there's a Disney fan art accounts that I didn't even know about that have a lot of followers. So if you find like a specific fan art page or something like that, people adore fan art. So I really recommend if you're like trying to get your followers up to do that. And yeah, all those big sharing accounts shared my work, and that's how I got exposure, and it really helped me. So I definitely recommend that to people.
Yeah, and did you have like a plan with posting, like posting every day, or did you have like a character close up, then more full body, or it was more like random for you?
It was for that it wasn't too random. I was trying to post every day. I would post my finished princess, and the next day I would show like the comparison of the actual Disney and then what I drew. And that was before I had any like client work, so I could do that every day. And now I'm definitely slower with posting on Instagram just because I'm trying to balance a lot of that stuff. But I try to post as much as I can. But yeah, I definitely recommend posting more often than I do.
Yeah, because maybe you can post like pictures of like your table with the tablet or with the
Yeah,
screen
definitely.
or something from your studio or working space if
Hmm.
it is just a table, right?
Yeah, right, right. I need to do that actually. That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's kind of like the process images, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
as you said, people like to see, like, okay, how does it look like? What is actually the life of the artist?
Right. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then you will also shared by a lot of blogs, right? Your artworks.
Yeah, yeah, it was crazy. I got a lot of articles were written about me, um, which was good and bad. There was one article that posted my stuff and it got like 2 million views,
Wow.
and they wrote, artist tries to make Disney princesses realistic, and
Mhm.
people like freaked out because like this isn't realistic. This is like all this stuff. So they were like bashing me, and
Wow.
I wasn't used to, all of this like attention and like especially bad attention. I was
Mhm.
like I'm so sensitive, so I was like sobbing and it was terrible. But the next day, Marvel emailed me and they're like, "Oh, do you want to do some character art for us? We saw like an article about you." And I was like, "Okay." So good things come out of like, if you get bad exposure, it's still exposure, and good things can come out of it.
Mhm.
So I try to have like a tougher shell now and be like, not let those things get to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, I
And
think artists are like innately sensitive, so we're like, why?
like what?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what helped you to overcome it at that moment, maybe before you get the email and just thinking about.
Just talking to my family. I mean, they're so supportive and
Mhm.
they comforted me, and they were going on there being like, she's not trying to make it realistic. And they were like trying to defend me. And I'm like, guys, stop. They helped me a lot. They're so sweet. So yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Yeah, because
Yeah.
also, as you said, it's more realistic than it was, but it's still stylized. So then you
Yeah,
have these
yeah. And my
discussions.
intention was never to make it look realistic. I was just drawing them for fun. So I was just like, you know,
Yeah.
it's crazy how like a little miswording can like affect people so much. So that was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people need something to talk about and entertain them in, I guess,
definitely. Yeah,
outside
yeah.
of their work. So,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. And when we were talking about also like the hard time, what would you consider like the hardest time of your art career, and what would be the key takeaway or what you learned from it?
Definitely starting out, just deciding that I wanted to
Mhm.
do freelance was just really terrifying because I feel like, as I said before, my family is really supportive, but a lot of people outside, there's such a stigma about being an artist, and they're like, you're never
Mhm.
gonna make any money and all this stuff. So it's really scary because you don't want to, live up to that, like a starving artist. Like I don't want that. So it was scary. It's definitely taking a leap of faith. And I think what helped me was realizing that everyone's career path is different, and it takes more time for other people, and it's not a reflection of your skills. It's just some things are like randomly happen, and you just have to be patient. And just because you fail once doesn't mean you should give up. I mean, you fail a million times as an artist and get rejected all the time, but you know, you get back up and you do it, and it really is worth it. So I think just knowing that things will happen if you just keep trying, just keeping a positive attitude about things is really important.
Yeah, so you don't give up and you just continue and maybe try different things and post that and
Yeah.
see what is the response there, right?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
I wanted to ask you as well about, like your networking because we talked about that you are at home and also like finding new opportunities because, of course, social media, but do you also go for maybe conventions or how else do you do your networking?
I've never been to a convention before. I really want to go to them in the future. But yeah, most of my networking is from social media, and also like their word of mouth to their friends, and they'll, message me. So keeping a good relationship with all your clients so they recommend you to other people is really important. And also knowing people in the art community, like people I went to school with, and my professor from college got me my first illustration job. So just having like good work relationships with your teachers and your friends and stuff like that is really important, I think.
Yeah, and do you have like a special way you talk with people or potential clients? Do you have like, how do you send them a maybe email or what do you say?
I definitely try to keep it super professional. And the same with my Instagram. Like if I get any hate comments or stuff like that, I never respond because it is like how I get clients and I want to keep a professional, you know, way about me on there. So yeah, I try to keep things professional, but be really nice too, not too like cold. So finding that nice balance because you want it to be still personal. Like I'm an artist and yeah.
Yeah. And if you're reaching out to someone you haven't talked in a while, maybe on Instagram or email, do you send them like, oh, this is my latest work, or maybe reaching up to companies, or you don't do that?
Yeah, definitely. Like keeping in contact with people you've done work with that you would like to work with again, just sending them updated stuff. Like if you're looking for anyone to do more work for you, let me know and stuff like that. It's good to keep in touch with people because they're like, oh yeah, I remember her and give you another job. So yeah, it's definitely important to keep in touch with people.
Yeah, yeah. And when you are like maybe if you can recommend someone who loves also Disney princesses or how to build the portfolio or what do you have there now? How do you build because you don't put everything there, so how do you put
Mhm.
stuff together?
So for my website or for
Or
Instagram,
when you are like either applying for a job or if the client asks you like, oh, can you send me samples of your work? Like, how do you present yourself?
so I definitely want to show them like my latest work. You don't want to show them stuff from like 6 years ago. Um, so latest stuff and also kind of keeping a similar look to everything to keep you on brand, as they like to
Yeah.
see. So yeah, just to kind of keep it organized and show them your latest stuff that you've been working and doing stuff constantly. So I think that's important to show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very. Yeah, that's definitely like good point for someone just starting out and they're thinking like, okay, how do I put everything together and starting
Yeah.
Instagram and all of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Yeah, don't
so,
be putting stuff from like high school into your into your professional
yeah.
portfolio.
And so, what made you, like decide to go for a Patreon? Because like you are really active on Instagram, right? And then
hmm
like, how do you choose the different social media?
So I've been trying to kind of branch out of what I've been comfortable doing, and I want to help people and do tutorials for people. So I thought that was a really good platform to do that. To do tutorials and have them be really interactive on there and tell me what they want to see or like what they want help on and stuff like that. So, yeah, I've seen a lot of artists do Patreon and I wanted to try it out. So, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how do you differentiate then from Patreon to YouTube? On YouTube, do you do like short ones, or and then Patreon like full tutorials?
Yeah, so on YouTube I have like the speed paint tutorial, which is probably like 5 minutes long. And it just has music to it and just shows like me painting. And then on Patreon, I'll have a longer tutorial where I'm actually talking and telling people what I'm doing and just like random tips and tricks that I've learned throughout my years of digital painting and stuff like that. So it's definitely more insightful and helpful and like a longer little lesson.
Oh, really cool. Yeah, because then it's like one of the projects you're working on now, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, so yeah, on YouTube at the end I'll put like if you want to see the full tutorial voiceover thing, go to my Patreon. So Yeah, I just started that like a week ago, so
Oh,
it's
that's
very,
really you.
it's very, very, very new.
And what about then maybe some upcoming projects you are excited about, something you want to share?
So Patreon's definitely my like newest project. But I'm also trying to get more away from the portraits, like I've said earlier, and sell more of my own stuff. Like I've been doing some more like obscure pieces that I want to sell prints of or stuff like that, like selling my own work instead of doing like everything for other people. I kind of want to like move into either doing like conventions and gallery shows maybe and more stuff about my own work.
Yeah, and do you already have a plan, like where do you want to sell more of the art prints, or do you want to have your own shop or maybe merchandise?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I had an Etsy, and I have like an account on like Redbubble and Society 6, which is like super easy because they do everything for you.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but I think maybe having my own shop on like my website or something like that, would be cool.
Yeah, or imprint. You should do imprint as well.
Imprint?
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you tried it or
No,
no?
I haven't.
Ah,
No.
that's super. Yeah, I have also the other two ones as you mentioned, and the imprint is really great for prints, and then you can actually keep a bigger part of your profit from the
Oh,
prints.
wow.
So
Oh, that's
that's really cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out. That sounds great.
Cool, cool. And what about like if you think about like a further future, like 5 to 10 years, and like maybe what are the projects you would like to work on, and you if you cannot fail and everything is going according to your plan?
I definitely want to do my own children's book, because that was such a big part of my childhood was
Yeah.
children's books and illustrating my own stories. So I took a children's book class when I was in college, and I wrote one that I still really want to. I want to redraw all my things because I did that like 5 years ago. But I still really like the story, and I want to like actually make that a book. So that would definitely be a much longer project. So that would be like 5 years, but that would be super, super cool to have. So I'm hoping to do that in the future.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you can have more and more books, right?
Yeah.
And do you have like a favorite book, maybe which you read recently, you would recommend to creative people?
I recommend. So my teacher told us to get this book. I have it right here. It is the Handbook Pricing Ethical Guide for Artists. And it is literally, I use it every time I do something for a client. It's so, so nice. It has all like pricing tips and contracts and stuff like that. So I think it's great for people just starting out that don't know what they're doing. So I really recommend that book. And I think there's probably a newer version out that's from like a couple years ago, but it's so helpful.
Yeah, I saw that also before, and I'm like, yeah, that's a really good book.
Yeah, yeah. It's amazing. It's a lifesaver.
Definitely. Okay, so that's on the list for
Yeah.
sure of the needed books. And what about like really far, far in the future? And like as one of my last questions, what would you like to be remembered for? In 100 years, and drones flying around, and I don't know, purple dinosaurs or something.
Oh my gosh, that's a hard question. Um, I feel like I have never thought that far ahead. But I think just being remembered for being nice and encouraging young artists to pursue their dreams, because I know there's a lot of people that think that you can't make a career as an artist, and you can, and I will can encourage you to do so because it's really important. And yeah, I just want to be maybe like a positive influence on someone. So that would be really nice. And teaching people maybe in the future, far, far future, I'd like to like actually be a teacher possibly for like college students or something like that. So making an impact on other artists would be really, really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Because it's always nice to share what you already learned and help them, like from basically our mistakes, what we already
Yeah,
been through.
definitely, definitely.
Because then you don't have to struggle and be frustrated as much because you're like,
Yeah,
okay, I can do this or I don't
yeah,
do this.
definitely. Okay. Oh my God, yes, yes.
And before we say goodbye, maybe you can share last piece of advice or key takeaway, and then we'll slowly finish.
Um, Advice would be, be nice to yourself. I know artists can be really hard on themselves and critical, and it's important to always try to do better, but be nice to yourself because if you're, hating on everything you do, you're not going to want to be motivated or continue to do art. So I think, staying positive and being kind to yourself is so important. Um, and yeah, just keep trying. If you're trying to be a freelancer, you can do it. It takes time, and don't be too impatient. Just let things happen and you'll be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So maybe plan, right, for like maybe first year that yeah you just have
Yeah.
something on the side, or
Mhm.
like save money on living costs or
Yeah,
something else.
definitely. And everyone, like, if you listen to any artist story, they're all different. So, I mean, you can't hold yourself to a different standard when it's like you're gonna have your own path.
Yeah.
So, it'll be okay. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So it's definitely super inspirational. That thank you for sharing all
Oh,
these
thank you
tips.
so much for having me. This was so fun.
Oh,
I'm
thank.
honored.
Oh, it's so nice to hear. So, thank you so much again for being here, because I'm sure everyone is like who already know you from your Instagram, and they are like, yeah, I want to hear how she did it. So yeah,
I feel
definitely
like
great.
my followers don't even know what I look like or like who I am.
It's like what? But yeah, but really cool. And thanks also to everyone who was like watching today or listening. And see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you being here. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, because I post new videos every week. I would be also super happy if you let me know your thoughts in comments and give the video a thumbs up. You can find all the resources mentioned in this episode at artsideoflife.com. Just type a guest name in the search bar. There is also a couple of free artist resources ready for you. So if you want to listen to the interviews on the go too, make sure to check out the podcast at artsideoflife.com/podcast. Continue to inspire each other, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!